All right, for this enrichment lesson, we are going to be taking composite area just a step further. So instead of just looking at shapes that are divided into rectangles, we're going to look at shapes that are divided into rectangles, triangles, trapezoids, and so on. So looking at this first shape here, there's two different routes that I would say you could go here. I could either divide it right here and have a triangle on top and a rectangle on bottom, or I can divide it right here and have a rectangle on this side, but then it would be a trapezoid here. To me, if I can avoid trapezoids, I do. I like working with triangles better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide it right here. So now we're going to look at our two different shapes. I'm going to start with the rectangle because to me, that is easier to work with. So we need our base. If I highlight the bottom, gives me the base length there of 18. If I highlight the right side, that gives us a height of 12. So our area for shape number 1 is 18 times a height of 12, which equals 18 times 12 is 216. For the second shape, the triangle on top here, I'm going to highlight this length right there. There is no measure given to us, so my first instinct is to look at the bottom, which is 18, but that's talking about the whole entire distance across. We just want this portion. So I'm going to look here, we're also given a horizontal portion of 4. So if the entire length is 18 and this part is 4, 18 minus 4 is 14. So 14 is left over for this smaller side. Then we also need our height. So I'm looking for that 90-degree angle. The side that meets at that 90-degree angle is this one on the left. So your first instinct might be that 18 is the height, but again, 18 is talking about the entire height. We just want this portion right here. So 18 minus, what is this side length here? Well, there's nothing listed, but if I look over here, it's 12, which means this side right here is also 12. So to find this portion, we're going to take the entire length of 18 minus 12, which gives us 6. Now remember, for finding the area of a triangle, we're doing base times height divided by 2. Don't forget the divided by 2 step. So our base of 14 times our height of 6 divided by 2. So 14 times 6 divided by 2 is 42. So to find our total area, we're going to add these together. 216 plus 42 is 258 centimeters squared. All right, number 2. Looking at this, there's a couple different ways that we can go about this. So I could divide it right here. I'm going to show it with my pencil. I could divide it right here and have a rectangle and a trapezoid. I could divide it right here and have a rectangle and a trapezoid. Really? Both of them are fine. They both work the same way. It's a rectangle and a triangle. Up to you which one you're going to go with. Let's say we go with this route right here. Ooh, that was kind of poorly drawn. So I'm going to first start with the rectangle. That's easier for me. We've got our base right here. It's given to us of 8. I would go to highlight this side, but there's no measure there. So I'm going to look on the left. It gives us a height of 10 because those sides are congruent. So the area of our rectangle is a base of 8 times a perpendicular height of 10. 8 times 10 is 80. All right, now for our trapezoid. Remember, this is the tricky one where we need our 2 parallel bases and a perpendicular height. The 2 parallel sides that I see right here are this side and this side here. They are parallel, they would not intersect. So we're given one of the base measures here, which is 7. This side isn't listed, but since it's part of the rectangle, this side of the rectangle should be equal to that side. So it means this base is 10. So The last part we need is the height. So we need our perpendicular height, which the side that meets at the 90-degree angle is this side right here. Our first instinct would be that it is 12, but 12 is talking about the entire length across. So if this portion isn't given to us, I'm going to look for this portion right here, which should be congruent to the bottom. So if the bottom is 8, this part is 8. So the entire length is 12, minus this portion, which is 8, which leaves this side right here to be 4. Doesn't look like it's 4, it doesn't look proportional, but you've got to use the numbers to calculate it. So we've got a base of 10, our second base of 7, and a height of 4. So to find our area, we are plugging into our formula. Base 1 of 10 plus base 2 of 7 times our perpendicular height of 4 divided by 2. So be careful when you're plugging that into the calculator. 10 plus 7 is 17, times 4 is 68, divided by 2 is 34. So we're going to add those two together to get our total area of 114 centimeters squared. All right, number 3. There's always different ways that you could divide this, but the easiest way, that's only going to be 2 shapes that I see, is going to be to divide it right here. So it's easy to spot that we've got a rectangle on the top. On the bottom, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 sides with only one set of parallel sides, so we've got a trapezoid there. If you really wanted to, you could divide it also into a triangle here, but that's making it more complicated in my mind. So I'm going to start with the rectangle. To me, that's easier to work with. If I were to highlight this part, there's no numbers given to us, so I'm going to look on the top, which is a base of 9. The right side, the height isn't given there, so if I look on the left, the height is 4. So for our rectangle, our area equals our base of 9 times our height of 4, which is 36. For our trapezoid, we need our 2 parallel bases. So remembering, the 2 sides that are parallel, they never would intersect, are these 2 sides here. Because if we continued them on, they would never meet. So one of those is easy to spot. It's 20. What we need to figure out is what is this base length here. This portion is 11. This portion is 4. What is this portion right here? Should be the same as the top of that rectangle. So we've got 11 plus 9 is 20, plus 4 is 24. And then the last part, we're looking at which side goes at a 90-degree angle, this one or this one. It's this perpendicular side right here, which has a height of 9. So we have our 2 bases and our height that we can plug into our formula. Area equals base 1 of 24 plus base 2 of 20 times our perpendicular height of 9 divided by 2. So plugging that into our calculator, 24 plus 20 times our height of 9 divided by 2 is 198. Then to get our total area, we're going to add those together. 36 plus 198 is 234 yards squared. All right, last one here. I think it's pretty obvious that if we divide it right here, we've got a triangle on top and a rectangle on the bottom. So for my shape number 1, I'm going to start with my rectangle. My base is 8. My perpendicular height is 5. So plugging that into the formula, 8 times our height of 5 is 40. And our triangle. Our base, there is no measure that's given to us here. So if I look on the bottom, I know the entire length across is 8. This portion right here is 1. This portion right here is 2, so we're going to take those away to see what's left over. 8 minus 1 is 7, minus 2 is 5. That leaves a base here of 5. And then the perpendicular height where it meets at a 90-degree angle is right here. That gives us a measure of 5. So for our triangle, we have a base of 5, a height of 5. So I'm going to plug that in. Our area equals base of 5 times our height of 5 divided by 2. If I plug that into the calculator, I should get 12 and a half. And I add those two together, 40 plus 12 and a half equals 52 and a half centimeters squared. Go ahead and flip it over and do the U-tries.